I'm Razeen Sally. I moderated the session on opening borders, building trade capacity for emerging economies. We discussed three main issues. First, the WTO and finishing the Doha round. Second, the so-called noodle bowl of free trade agreements, FTAs, in East Asia. And third, supply chains and making trade easier, facilitating it through these regional and global supply chains. On the WTO front, Pascal Lamy and other ministers highlighted the costs of not finishing the Doha round. And perhaps the biggest cost would be that it might actually compromise the domestic reforms that are very necessary, the domestic trade reforms that are very necessary, that go on outside the WTO, but that would be more difficult to achieve without finishing the Doha round. As for the Doha round itself, members need to be more modest and realistic, perhaps have an early harvest package for least developed countries, and then maybe one or two other things like trade facilitation and bits of agriculture. And finally, the ASEAN countries, among other middle powers, could play a role in actually using their good offices to bring the big beasts, like the Americans and the Chinese and the Indians and the Brazilians together to complete the round. On FTAs, what was striking in the discussion was that there was not that much mention of tariffs, which often grab the headlines, much more about all the regulatory differences between the FTAs, which can create a very messy noodle bowl and increase costs for business. So the challenge here is to actually harmonize different standards and iron out these differences between FTAs in order to make these supply chains work better and expand them throughout the region. And the key thing here is supply chains in East Asia need to be expanded beyond ICT into other parts of manufacturing and services and indeed agriculture. And that involves not just headline trade policy reforms, but also a lot of domestic reforms to improve the business climate.